They burning up. She didn't worry about the fires. She didn't worry about torching cars. She encouraged the demonstrations. And we're not going to say anything because we know what happened to the fire chief when she said that Karen Bass was in Ghana junketing. And we know what happened when the people said the deputy mayor had phoned in a bomb threat. He's going to be sentenced to 10 years in prison. Those were the two people in charge of LA during the fires. So they don't want to be fired. So they're going to go along with the party line. The truth is Karen Bass came out and basically supported the demonstrators who were already rioting. There's pictures of people throwing rocks at passing cars, cars on fire. It was actually a class element. When you look at the ICE, the police didn't come for 2 hours. When you look at the faces, a lot of them were Hispanic, few black, working class people.
While Los Angeles burned, literally, its mayor was off in Ghana and its governor was blaming Donald Trump. Victor Davis Hanson dismantles the farce piece by piece. From mobs throwing rocks while the police stood down, to sanctuary cities protecting lawlessness, funded by the state itself. And all the while, Gavin Newsom dares to call law enforcement cruel. This isn't about compassion. It's class warfare dressed up as virtue. Billionaire Bay Area progressives torch the system, then retreat to palazzos in Napa. The middle class flees. The poor suffer. And Newsom calls it justice? Victor Davis Hanson says enough. If enforcing the law is cruel, what do we call what they've done to California?
And they were trying to stop mass hiring of illegal aliens by firms that traditionally, knowingly had broken immigration law. And the question is then to Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, what do you want to do? Is it we have 12 million illegal aliens that came into the Biden? You didn't say one word. You want 20? You want 30? We already had 15 to 20. We have almost 40 probably. So what is the optimum number? And Trump remembered the 2020 riots when people like Tim Walz's wife later would recall that she opened the windows so she'd get the fragrance of the burning rubber. Tim Walz didn't bring out the National Guard. We know the Mayor Fry did. All of those characters. Milley, remember, said that Trump was trying to put him into a op. General Mattis said he didn't want any federal troops, so national. $2 billion, 35 dead, 14,000 arrests, most of them let go, 1,500 injured police officers. Again, $2 billion, iconic church burn, precinct burn, courthouse burn. So Trump's not taking any chances. But what is strange about this is that the state of California was granting money to some of these groups that were violently protesting. So Gavin Newsom then, who can't figure out a trajectory to the presidency or being nominated, because he believes in anything and nothing. So he came out and said that Donald Trump was cruel. This is cruel. And I was writing a column today about that. You know, Gavin, you know what is cruel? Cruel is having the mayor abandon her city and go to Ghana and let it burn. Cruel is your state coastal commission and this county of Los Angeles not allowing homeowners to clean off the hillsides because of your crackpot green idea. Cruel is the Los Angeles head of water and power who let the reservoir not be repaired and it was empty. Cruel is the fire department who didn't sound the alarm when hydrants went there. Cruel is you, Gavin, who cannot allow Los Angeles to be rebuilt. The Coastal Commission, the city of Los Angeles, they won't issue permits in a timely fashion. Karen Bass should have resigned or should have been subject to a recall. So what they're doing now is trying to recapture public sympathy and they're trying to create a mass movement. When you actually look at the demographics of the people throwing rocks and stuff, it's either wealthy, white, affluent kids and middle-class white people, and it looks like students, minority students as well. And you look at the people who are trying to enforce the law, they are multiracial. So it's kind of a class thing where we, the elite and the educated, are championing the illegal and the people in between, the middle class, heck with them. But there is not a mass spontaneous protest of 300,000 Hispanics taking the street. So why is that? And the answer is that their communities are the most impacted when you let in 12 million people and they swarm dialysis clinics, emergency rooms, they're on EBT cards, and your community and your schools are the most impacted. So there's no grassroots support for this. It's elite people doing that. But I would just finish by saying, you know what else is cool, Gavin Newsom? Is the highest gasoline taxes and prices in the United States. You should come down here to Tulare, Kings, Fresno County, and look at poor people when they pull into discounted gas stations to save 8 cents a gallon. They go back and forth sometimes with $30, $20 to fill up their tank. I can tell you what they don't do, Gavin. They don't take their 1995 trucks and put in 30 gallons of gas on a big tank or 25. They don't have the money to pay $150. They just don't. And you know what else, Gavin, that you've done in your state? 1/4 of your state residents don't pay their power bill. They don't have the ability, or they don't want to, or they can't. And we're looking at maybe 20% now of car owners and homeowners that don't have the money to pay the insurance because you've driven them out. So rather than grandstanding and talking about cool, why don't you ask yourself, Gavin Newsom, why do I have the highest income taxes, the highest gas taxes, among the highest top 10 sales taxes, and yet I have among the worst schools, the worst infrastructure, the highest property crime rates in San Francisco? Why is that? And I'm running a multi-billion-dollar deficit despite a 13.3 income tax rate. And Gavin, why are you losing 200,000 to 300,000 middle class and professional taxpayers every year that are fleeing paradise to go to places that are naturally not as beautiful or scenic, or the weather's not as good? Why is that? So before you start grandstanding and accusing people of being cruel who are trying to enforce a law that you're trying to undermine, you should ask yourself very carefully what you've done to California. And I can tell you the answer, what it is. There is a bad pattern here that multi-millionaire, inherited wealth, rich people in the Bay Area siphoning off $9 trillion of market capitalization in Silicon Valley live one way and dictate to the rest of the people the other way. So Gavin, you're going to call this cruel, and you will not enforce the law, and you won't send state troops to help to ensure peace, and then you'll go to your $9 million home. And believe me, it will not catch on fire. And believe me, you don't worry about the price of gas or your insurance cost or your power bill, because you're in a long line. There was Jerry Brown, he's in Grass Valley in retirement, in a beautiful scenic place. There was Nancy Pelosi with her palazzo in Napa, a big mansion. There was Kamala Harris, she's in Brentwood with her husband, another multimillionaire. There was the late Dianne Feinstein, multimillionaire. There was Barbara Boxer down in Rancho Mirage, multimillionaire. What do they have in common? They were all left-wing architects of the disaster that's now California, and that never, ever did any of them suffer the consequences of their ideologies that were inflicted on people in Bakersfield, these foothills, Inland Empire, Madera, Sacramento. That's what happened. And now for them to grandstand and try to get national attention by saying, this is cruel and this is mean. No, you're mean and you're cruel. And you seem to have a propensity for allowing fires to burn, whether they're caused by protesters or your own policies on Hillside.
If you enjoyed today's